So I've mixed the plaster. Most of you mix the plaster way too loose. It should be extremely heavy. The way I test it, mix it for about 30 seconds. You should be able to turn the bowl upside down and nothing should come out. If you mix it that thick, you're ready to go. So take a little bit of plaster, put it onto the mounting plate, get it right down into the grooves. You don't want this to fall off. Get it right into the grooves. Now take a little more plaster on the mandibular section, flip the model over, get it right down into the grooves. Please be as neat as possible. If you're neater now, it's going to save you a lot of headaches later. We're positioning this so that the mandibular and maxillary models have the same amount of plaster. The only way you can do this is to mix this plaster as heavy as possible. It should be as heavy, it should look like a piece of clay. It should be that heavy, it should not be drippy at all. So now I'm going to bend down. I know you can't see it in the video, but I'm actually going to kneel down. I'm turning this over and I'm down at eye level. I'm not standing up right now. I'm bringing this right over the mounting plates. I have a rubber band as my guide. This rubber band will be exactly with the occlusal table. So as I'm closing this down, I can see, luckily, I am right there. So now, if I look straight in, from looking at the incisal pin, I'm viewing straight in, I can see the two centrals, and I can see my occlusal table is perfectly level. At that point, I can get rid of whatever extra plaster I have, leave it on the side in case you have any voids and you want to fill it in. Put any extra plaster you have on the side. Now take your time, you have time to do this. Clean out your rubber bowl. And the trick to doing this right the first time is to have as much clean water as possible. The cleaner the water is, it's going to be very easy. This is no different than frosting a cake like a baker does. Take a little water, dip it in, and you can slide very slightly. And if you notice, I'm going to keep going back and forth to the water. Come over, keep smoothing it off. If you need a little extra plaster, take from what you have. Work up the sides. If you have any voids, fill them in. And then after this sets, I'm going to give it about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take a plaster. I have a sandpaper block. I'll take a sandpaper block and I'll use this to smooth it off, but I need to let it sit for about 15 minutes. So now, as I'm doing this, you can see the model's probably going to wiggle a little bit, and I'm probably out of alignment. So the last thing I'm going to do this as nice as I can. Again, clean water, keep cleaning off, clean water, take your time, you don't have to rush. If you mixed it heavy, you have plenty of time to work. Make it as smooth as you possibly can. Keep dunking it, keep wiping off your knife. Also in the back, clean off the other section, everything, you know, this is curb appeal. The nicer it looks, the more impressive everything is. Sloppy articulation, everything looks sloppy. So now I haven't cut anything away. All I did was clean off what I had. In a minute, I'll put it on pause. I'm gonna let it set up for about 15 minutes, and then we'll continue with the video. Okay, so now I got that far. Looking okay so far. Let me cut the video for a minute. I can also bend down and look at it before it sets up and make sure I am perfectly level, and of course it did move a little bit. So now I've set it up and I'm going by the rubber band. I know from the angle you're looking at, you're not quite seeing it, but this rubber band is exactly at the occlusal surface. All right, so I'm gonna leave it for a few minutes to set up, and I'll put it on pause and then we'll do the upper part.